little bit of news this past week in high school football with multiple area teams changing divisions. This included Louisville moving from Division III to Division II, Canton Central Catholic moving from Division VI to Division V, St. Thomas Aquinas moved from Division VII to Division VI, and East Canton goes from Division VI to Division VII. These moves come from a change in enrollment or what's called a competitive balance change. I got a little bit of a breakdown from Canton Central Catholic head coach Jeff Lindesmith. All right, Coach, can you maybe guide me through some of the terminology here? I know you talked about the enrollment, competitive balance. Some schools had to change because of competitive balance.
Yep.
What are we talking about there?
Yep. And those are those students that come to your school outside what you call your normal feeder school ranks, your areas. And it could be from, say, any school that all of a sudden has open enrollment. You have to count those kids as not one of your regular feeder school or homeschool kids. And what they try to do is, and it adjusts everybody. It's just not private schools. It's public schools too to have open enrollment. Those kids come in, those kids' numbers would increase, meaning they don't count as one student. They would count as 1.5 students or 2 students. I'm not exactly how they adjusted that calculation. So say for Central Catholic, we have Catholic grade schools that count towards our homeschool kids. If you get somebody that comes in from outside that school, they will count as more in your competitive balance number. That increases what your baseline number is. If your enrollment goes up, obviously, if your school went from 300 kids to 350 kids, you have more kids, that would move your numbers up also. So competitive balance is kids outside your school. Your normal enrollment numbers, like ours, went up because our enrollment numbers went up. That increases the number of kids, moves you to a higher division.
Louisville head coach Chris Kappas noted that coaches just have to take these changes as they come, saying it's not something they necessarily track or keep a heavy eye on.
That's where we got to play. That's where they're going to put us, and that's we're on the lower end of Division II in terms of the number of boys that we have, but so be it. That's a great challenge, and that's the mentality that we try to instill in our kids every single day. Is that sometimes you might be on the lower end. You might not be as skilled as a team that you're playing, or have as many boys, or whatever that is. Okay, but what you can't control is how you prepare and how you're going to go out there. And at the end of the day, you got to go out and win every single day, and that gives you a chance to win on Friday night.
While many regular season schedules are set and will be unaffected, one change is, of course, to possible postseason opponents. Teams like Canton Central Catholic may no longer play classic postseason rivals.
Dropping down to a Division V school it doesn't affect a whole lot. If you think back to our run, we had 14, 15, 16, 17. We were a Division V school a lot with the same region. And over the last 4 years, we dropped down to a 6. So when it comes to familiarity and what it doesn't change a whole lot. It just changes the different schools in that area that you have to play. Some people that we're familiar with, like South Range, a team like that we've played, we've looked for in the playoffs, have usually been a pretty good team in a Division V. Obviously, 2 years ago won a state title. I looked at the first thing I did when somebody asked me about this is I think it was Perry that won the state title last year. It was in Division V, was in that region, and they moved up to a Division IV. So I'm like, okay, that area had some state titles. Obviously, we had one in 16, won the region in 14 and 15. South Range kind of made a run for it. Kirtland's bounced around from Division V to Division VI. They were in that region also. So there's some schools that usually are pretty good, that have some great traditions, usually can make pretty good runs in the playoffs, that I guess you kind of look at that list and see where they're at. But as I told you, we don't get too consumed with it too much, because that's a long run. It's a long way away, but you just kind of like to see who you're familiar with in each region.
To stay up to date with everything happening in Stark County high school sports, be sure to follow 1480 WHBC on social media and check out WHBCsports.com. Reporting for News Talk 1480 WHBC and WHBC Sports, I'm Billy Beebe.